sections to Chapter 7 of our buildings and building regulations. And specifically, it will be a new article where building permits will be withheld for delinquent taxes. And pursuant to the Connecticut General Statutes, no building permit, certificate of occupancy, or construction permit for improvements or changes in real property shall be issued for any real property where there are delinquent municipal taxes, water sewer use charges, assessments, penalties, or fines. And I do urge adoption.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments on this item? Alderman Ayalon.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. In the committee, we discussed it, but they still have questions. I don't think many of my questions were answered. Is there anybody here that can come forward from the city to answer some questions?
And what piece of it?
Well, my question was, first of all, how much do we have any change in the amount of debt that the residents owe the city that necessitates this another penalty on the residents? So I wanted to know from somebody here from the city whether we have a crisis in our a number of residents or anything changed since, say, 2 years ago, 10 years ago.
Alderman Smedley.
Thank you, Your Honor. Respectfully to my colleague, I don't think it's another penalty. It's you're not going to renovate your bathroom if you owe the city property taxes first. If you can afford the materials, fixtures, and finishes to renovate a bathroom where you need a plumbing and an electrical permit, but you owe taxes, you need to reevaluate your situation and pay the taxes that you owe the city for services you've already received, such as trash, emergency services, and use of parks, schools, etc. So I'm not understanding where you think it's another penalty for the residents.
Thank you for your comment. The question I have, of course, this issue is that we talked about in the committee that such as replacing the roof is really a necessity because water, roofs leak, and this could be could be a penalty, could be very harmful for residents if they can't get. So I'm just curious. Now we also discussed in the committee whether there is sufficient penalties for people who owe water or other, and there is. And so I'm just curious why we need this right now, where we were told that they pay for the taxes they owe, or any kind of money, they pay 1.5% penalty every month for a total of 18% a year. And after a year or two, they have a lien on their house. They can lose their house. They can lose their livelihood. I think that's severe enough. But I wonder if there's anybody in the city that can tell us what's the situation with the number of residents who owe money to the city.
Alderman, if you're looking for the tax collector, obviously everybody here is well aware that she is out on FMLA due to an accident. You know that as well. So if you're looking to try to see if she's here, obviously you know that she's sick and she's not here. However, it looks like Chief of Staff Dorsey has something that he may be able to add here.
Just a couple things, Alderman. One, this was recommended back with a favorable resolution from the committee. But two, it's no different than the health permits that we issue, which we've had on the books for the last 2 years. I believe it was an item that you voted for in the past, that when we place these restrictions on people going for health permits, if you owe delinquent taxes or any payments, so the health permit is no different than the building permit. It's the same department.
I'm still not clear about why this is needed. I think it puts an undue pressure on the residents. Now let's also think about it in the context
pressure to pay their taxes?
of the water bills that the resident has been given. So I just talked today to a resident that had in 2018 $25,000 unexplained water bill. So obviously she wouldn't be able to do anything with her house. And so we're adding people who owe money, unexplained money, especially water bills, and we're telling them, not only you owe money, that we didn't explain to you, now you can't do any improvement in your house. So I think, I haven't yet heard any reason why we need to change the current regulation. It sounds like there are severe penalties already for those who owe money. So since I don't hear any new information here from the city to justify this, I urge my colleagues here to vote against it. Thank you.
All right, thanks. I would just like to reiterate section 7-64, which talks about an exception for emergencies, which you touched upon a little bit, which also says that the building department may grant the building permit or construction permit if this is in a health or safety concern of the occupants. This would not apply up to the health and safety determination of the building department director. So I don't think that this is the money grab of what you're alluding for it to be. Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Your Honor. I guess to you or Alderman Smedley. So if somebody owes and they're making payments or they made arrangements to pay and paying, this would not apply? Or would it?
That is correct. It
Right.
would not apply. It would be up to the consultation of the building department and building department director with the tax collector to be able to see that. And therefore, if somebody is making a good faith effort, it would not apply.
Exactly. That's what I thought. And, you know, this isn't another penalty. Again, if you can't afford to pay your taxes, then obviously you can't afford to fix your house. So it's kind of simple math. Thank you, Your Honor.
I also think that the impetus behind this was looking at people who are multiple property owners in town, who own a lot of properties that are not paying their taxes, when obviously we certainly know that they have the means to do so. They're making that choice to not pay, but yet still investing and purchasing additional properties. I think this was kind of where this was going with that. Any other alderperson? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Alderman Sagara and Alderman Ayalon for the record. Motion carries. Alderman Smedley, resolution number 2.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 2.
Seconded by Alderman Hargraves.
As we know, Myrtle Street is a vital thoroughfare which connects downtown New Britain with a variety of critical land uses, population centers, and our public transportation facilities. Myrtle Street lacks qualifying features of a complete street, will require some improvements. Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development has made funds available for these capital improvements when it is within a half mile of transportation facilities. And the city intends to request up to $2 million in state grant funding through this opportunity with an anticipated local match of 20%. And this resolution will allow the mayor to be authorized to submit the 2022 Connecticut TOD grant application on behalf of the city for up to $2 million. I do urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Smedley. Are there any questions or comments on this application? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Before I go to resolution number 3, I should just add, speaking of grant applications, I just want to give a congratulations to the Capital Region Council of Governments, Mark Moriarty, Department of Public Works. We were the recipient of an over $13 million grant that the city applied for. It was called a build grant, or no, I'm sorry, it's called a raise grant through the federal government for the completion of the entire Beeline Trail. So the Beeline Trail is the multi-use trail that's going to connect it's going to connect the multi-use trail from Fast Track all the way through the city, through Plainville, and connect all the way into the Farmington Heritage Canal Trail. And so we were really, really excited. This is a massive win for us, so just congratulations to us. This was the application that got approved through the whole state, so we're really excited. Alderwoman Costa, resolution number 3.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 3.
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Sanchez.
Thank you. This resolution is for the purchase of new ADA accessible bleachers for the Recreation and Community Services Department over at Chesley Park. Chesley Park is a very actively used park. We've got a lot going on there, and this ADA accessible bleacher will be on the turf field, the football field, where my nephew is playing right now with a bunch of his friends. Lots of stuff goes on there. We have lots of family friends that come out year-round, and having these ADA accessible seatings will be a huge contribution and make for an improved quality of life for everybody. So we want to make sure we're adhering to everybody's abilities. And the total price is $26,000. I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderwoman. It also means that there will be places for people to sit instead of leaning against our new fence and bending it in, and so we don't have to replace a new one of those in a couple years. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Hargraves, resolution number 4. And 5 and 6.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 6.
Seconded by Alderwoman Costa. 4.
You just told me 4, 5, 6. Resolution
Sorry,
number 4,
my bad. I threw you off. It was totally my fault.
Thank you. This is for a $130,000 grant from the American Savings Foundation to fund year 17 of our Exercise the Right Choice after-school programs for our middle school students. This is a great program. It helped. I was a student in the ERC program back in my middle school days. They have done great things. I was also an employee there, too. Comes full circle, and now I'm presenting this resolution. So, yeah, I urge adoption.
Thank you very much, Alderman. Are there any questions or comments in the acceptance of this grant? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 5.
Seconded by Alderwoman Costa.
It's for the other after-school program for the elementary schools. It's a total of $323,000 from the State Department of Education, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Hargraves. This is from the State Department of Ed. This is for 6 elementary schools for the after-school programming, and then the next one you'll see we round it out. Any questions or comments? Alderman Ayalon.
Yes, I just want to reiterate the importance of these after-school program, and we heard from the president of the board. And I want to thank our delegation, our Democrats from, especially Bobby Sanchez, the chair of the Education Committee, that makes sure that we allocate money for programs like that, and of course renovating Chamberlain and other schools. So I want to thank them again. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this? Chief of Staff Dorsey?
Just like to point out, this money is going to Jefferson School, this specific program, and Alderman Hargraves, who presented this, was once the supervisor at Jefferson School, and I was the assistant supervisor for this very program. Still have run the most successful coat drive in after-school program history.
Love it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Hargraves.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 6. This is 6 this time.
Seconded by Alderwoman Costa.
Oh, so this is another one, $200,000 grant from the State Department of Ed, Year 2 for the 21st Century Community Learning Centers. As we've heard today, our after-school programs are great. They help the whole child. It helps parents that have to work for those extended hours as well. So kudos to the Parks and Rec Department for continuing to do these great programs, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman, and a thank you to all of our very dedicated after-school program staff, which we are hiring for. So if anybody watching, anybody knows of anybody, please apply. We're always taking applications. At least I hope, unless Eric pops out from somewhere and tells me we're not. Okay, please apply. There we go. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Catanzaro, resolution number 7.
Thank you, Your Honor. Make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 7.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is for a new structure at the driving range at Stanley Golf Course that is badly needed. Over the years, the increase of golfers has been exponentially. So we're going to put up a new building, and the funding is in the account for miscellaneous capital projects, not to exceed $300,000. And I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Catanzaro. Just to clarify, this is coming out of the golf revenue account. This doesn't impact the general fund. This is coming out of the proceeds that we make at the golf course from the business and from the clientele that we have there. Any questions or comments on this? I know it's not Top Tracer, but it's through Top Tracer, so it's kind of exciting for golfers. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution number 8, Alderman Malinowski.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and refer to the Committee on Administration, Finance, and Law, item number 8.
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Russell on the referral.
And this deletes a section of the current ordinance limiting part-time employment to 5 months out of any calendar year, and there will be plenty of time to discuss this in committee. And I urge referral.
Thank you. It's funny when you find those things that do not reflect how you actually operate. All those in favor of the referral, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Rutkowski, resolution number 9.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll make a motion to accept and adopt. Thank you very much, Alderman. I'll make a motion to accept and adopt item number 9.
Seconded by Alderman Smedley.
This is an authorization to enter into agreement with AI Engineers for $95,600 for construction inspection services for the Public Works Department. We'll be starting construction on the Downtown Streetscapes Phase 8 project and the Stanley Loop Trail Phase 2 project in August of 2022, both of which require full-time inspection in order to ensure that the city, state, and federal standards and requirements are followed, plus the Public Works Department needs inspection on annual programs such as trench repair, sidewalk improvements, and crack sealing, and I urge adoption.
Thank you very much, Alderman Rutkowski. Are there any questions or comments on this? Obviously, this is before us because our chief inspector did retire in May, and we have been unable to fill the position, so this is going to fill the void for us for the necessary work in the meantime. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Smedley.
Thank
Ooh,
you, Your
This
Honor.
one's exciting.
I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 10.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
Thank you. The DEP is providing a grant to the city for the purpose of installing new electric vehicle or EV charging stations at our 3 city parking garages. And this is because the city's existing EV charging stations have begun to fail and parts have become obsolete, and new technology has allowed for faster charging analytics and processing for former Alderman Salerno to be able to charge his electric vehicle. So the State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has notified the city that they will provide a grant for $19,500 for the installation of these charging stations. I do urge adoption because the next item relies on it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any questions? Alderman Ayalon.
Thank you. I'm glad that we're installing charging stations, and it's much needed. And of course, I want to thank the state of Connecticut and that I think the legislature gave a lot of money for renewable energy this past session, and now the Inflation Reducing Act of Congress will add billions of dollars for stations. I believe $7 billion for building charging stations around the country. And what that means is that I think the city of New Britain should stop, buying pickups, gasoline pickups, and so on and so forth, and start looking at hybrids and other, because of course we know the environment, and these will become obsolete. So instead of buying new ones, from what I know, we have now 2 electric utility automobiles, but that's about it. So it's time to have a vision. Thank you very much.
It takes a vision. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Smedley.
Thank you, Your Honor. Make a motion to accept and adopt item number 11.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
Thank you. As we just discussed, the city would like to install new EV charging stations, and as a result, we'd like to enter into an agreement with Environmental Systems Corporation, better known as ESC, through Eversource's Connecticut Electrical Vehicle Charging Rebate Program. And we will be installing 4 EV stations in the Bogoslawski Garage, 2 EV stations in the Szczesny Garage, and 2 charging stations in the Bottolato Garage. The Facilities and Energy Management Division of our support services would like to request the install of these through this rebate program. It would include an incentive rebate of about $139,500, which significantly reduces our cost to the city to $38,500 for this for this project. which will also include the grant amount of $19,500. And Mr. Delgadillo is here if anyone has any questions about the logistics of the install or this rebate program, which we have used in the past.
Thank you, Alderman Smedley. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Delgadillo? How about you just give us a little synopsis?
So, through you, Mayor, just.
Brief.
Yes. Through you, Mayor, actually, correction, so that's 4 dual ports and 2 dual ports at each one, so there'll be 8 at Bogoslowski, there'll be 4 at Chesney, and there'll be 4 at Bottolato.
Okay.
So there'll actually be 4 chargers, each one actually has 2 chargers per port.
So Alderman Salerno wants?
I don't think his car has 2 holes. But these are level 2 chargers. They're a faster charger. They should charge your vehicle in up to 3 hours. The level 3 chargers are also included in the approval from Eversource. However, those lead times are over a year to obtain. So at this point, we're just approving the level 2s. I could get those within 6 weeks, and I could get that change in. And then for you, Alderman Islam, we're going to be repurposing the existing ones we have now, and we're going to utilize those for our future fleet vehicles. I've already talked to Sam Plumley about it. That will be utilized for our own use going in the future, since the new ones will have the ability to charge at a slower rate so they can charge overnight any sort of future EV vehicles we have.
Yes.
And so just a logistic question. So you said it might take about 3 hours to charge, right?
3 hours to charge a full vehicle. Yeah, it's a level 2.
Let's say I'm a resident, I'm parking, and so do I have to pay for that parking place?
Correct. So
And then only for 3 hours and then leave? Or if it stays all day, how can others?
So
charge?
currently, right now, we have a 4-hour limit on our EV chargers in the garages.
Okay, so they can park it and charge, and so, but at the same time as they park, they have to pay for the parking. spot.
Correct.
Okay, because I know like at Central, for example, there's a area that for charging, but anybody can park there and charge their car, you know, whether whether they are students or faculty or somebody from the outside.
Yeah, electricity is a increasing cost right now, highly increasing cost. It's going to cost the city to charge these vehicles, so there's going to be a charge to the public or whoever plans on using them.
So another question that I've heard that it might be even better is to connect those charging to solars. And then it really reduces the cost, right? Is that a consideration?
Chesney Garage already has solar panels. Bogoslowski Garage does not have a roof. Bottolato Garage roof is well overdue. So, and cannot install solar panels at those locations
So
currently.
in one of them, we have
And
solar.
one of them, we do have solar, correct.
That the energy in the parking garage is coming from the solar, right?
Some of the energy does, correct.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Delgadillo? Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you. I know there was some posts recently about some explosions or cars, catching on fire when they're plugged in. Is that something that you know about or where?
I believe that was
just
Tesla
where-
specific, if I'm not mistaken. I believe those are Tesla specific issues. So Tesla has their own chargers. If you've ever been to the mall, those only work for Tesla vehicles.
Gotcha.
These are a non-proprietary EV charging station that's built actually in Connecticut that I'll be utilizing. It's a really good brand, well-known. They've been around the industry for a long time, so I feel confident in it.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure you were on it. I just had to bring it up. Thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
Alderman Rakowski.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure if anyone asked this question yet, but is there a charge for the actual electricity?
Yeah.
Or are you just paying for the parking?
Nope. So each garage has a different rate. So each, depending on where you're parking, the rate to charge will be variable based on that.
Okay. And you just mentioned that Tesla has their own proprietary chargers. So are these chargers can charge a Tesla? or
Yes,
no?
they could charge any EV vehicle.
Any car, any
Yeah.
car.
Tesla just has their own Tesla chargers.
At the
that
mall.
that only charge Tesla vehicles.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Thompson, resolution number 12.
Thank you, through your honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 12.
Seconded by Alderman Smedley.
All right, this is to install a ATM machine in City Hall on the first floor from Achieve Financial. Other banks were contacted, nobody else showed interest, and this will be a great addition. It's been at least 25 years since there's been a credit union in this building. So it'd be nice for the residents and for the employees to be able to get money if they need it. And I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Are there any questions or comments on this? will be through a Chief Financial Credit Union. No other bank was interested. Sorry. Alderman Catanzaro.
Just kind of elaborate what Alderman Thompson said. When we had a credit union here in the city that was run, I forget how young you are, Mayor. Or
Why,
how old
thank
I
you.
am. Or how old I am. But when they closed, they merged with the chief. So it's, it's kind of coming back home. A lot of us have our accounts through Achieve. It's a great credit union, and
Was that Fleet Bank?
it'd be great for people to get cash to pay their bills and their taxes. So, thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Alderman. Any other questions or comments on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Smedley.
Thank you, Your Honor. Motion to accept item number 13 and refer to the Committee on Administration, Finance, and Law.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
Thank you, Your Honor. The City of New Britain is committed to revitalization and improving quality housing stock and retail business in our downtown business district. And Main and Chestnut LLC is in the process of purchasing the property located at 157 Main Street, which is currently a portion of 10 Chestnut Street. It's the municipal lot area. Mr. Crone, member of Main and Chestnut LLC, intends to develop and create a new commercial and residential building consisting of a minimum of 80 multi-style apartments and a minimum of 4,000 square feet of commercial space on the first floor. And we are desirous of entering into a real estate tax modification agreement, which limits real estate property taxes to $550 per unit in that building, with grand list following the issuance of the temporary certificate of occupancy. And there will be a increase of escalator 1% for each succeeding assessment date for the next 26 years. I do urge referral. We'll talk about it more in committee.
Okay. Any questions on the referral to Admin, Finance, and Law? All those in favor of the referral, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Smedley for the second piece of that.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and to accept and refer item 14 to Committee on Planning, Zoning, and Housing.
Seconded by Alderman Russell.
And as we just talked about, Main and Chestnut LLC has submitted a proposal in response to a public request for proposals, and was selected to purchase and develop a mixed-use building on the current City of New Britain-owned municipal lot at 10 Chestnut Street. And the purchase price will be $125,000, and I do urge referral.
Any questions on the referral to Planning, Zoning, and Housing? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Rutkowski.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll make a motion to accept and adopt item number 15.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
This is for $20,500 to Comprehensive Environmental Incorporated for mandated dam and dike inspections for the Public Works Department Utilities Division, whereas Comprehensive Environmental will conduct an inspection of the dams and dikes, including spillways, wells, embankments, intakes, and outlet structures, the downstream channels, and their miscellaneous features. The inspection will help them to determine the conditions of there and any water leakage of the dams and dikes that need repair, and I urge adoption.
Thank you very much, Alderman. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Before we adjourn this evening, I have requests for points of personal privilege, one from Alderman Ayalon.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
I just want to mention a few items that I'm concerned about. One is that at the beginning of our term, we had leadership meetings on a regular basis, and then suddenly, for no reason, they stopped. So I'm urging my colleagues, leadership from the Republican side and from the mayor's office to have to reestablish those in September, to reestablish those leadership meetings. I think it's important. The second issue is while the technology is still there, that the Common Council voted for remote public participation close to 6 months ago, and we still don't have that. And so I urge the city to finally have that accessibility to the public, to have remote participation. Number 3 is I've submitted several water bill petitions. The last one with, I believe, several, 2 dozens of specific water bills that were unexplained, over $1,000, and I'm yet to hear an answer. So we have here the head of the water department. I'm still waiting for those reports, and it's not the first time. I've had other petitions that have never been answered. Over the 5 years that I've been on the city council, there is at least 30 or 40 petitions that I submitted that were never answered. So I'm not surprised. But I think the residents are really concerned about their water bills, and they need to hear the specific, what we're doing about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think one of the petitions was returned. Am I correct in that? I think we may need to double check the reports, because I do believe one of them that you. Okay. We'll take the time to research that for you. Because Alderman Catanzaro asked for a point of personal privilege too. Let me stop before I get ahead of myself and get myself in trouble. Alderman Catanzaro.
I'll do that, that's okay, Mayor. Thank you, Your Honor. Something I started a few months ago, right after we had the shooting at Uvalde, Texas. And I preached to the council and I preached to the Board of Ed. They wanted some beefed up security in our schools. I asked for the money that we allocated towards ADA to be allocated towards security. Apparently was not done because of fines or whatever. My experience this summer with my family member going to summer school in a elementary school, one of the security officers from the high school was at the school. To my surprise and to my, I guess, glory, if you will, to see somebody there. I spoke with him almost every day when I dropped off my daughter. And he stated to me, I said that I'm really trying to get somebody at every school. Love to have an officer that's very expensive, but these security guards would be less expensive. He says, you know what I do all day? I shut doors. I shut and make sure the doors are locked, that are continuously open. Okay. If that's not an argument in itself, nothing is. Secondly, one of the last days of summer school, he was outside on his phone, and we spoke, and he was calling his supervisor, and I think calling the station, because there was a suspicious vehicle in the parking lot with 2 men in it, sitting there since early morning. So I said, well, there's a road job right on across the street with 2 officers. I'll swing by and see if they'll stop by. They did. They boxed the car in. They did all kinds of checks. Luckily, there was nothing severe. But again, he caught it. He caught something out of place that wasn't at the parking lot, that obviously our teachers are too busy teaching, our custodians are too busy custodian, and so on and so forth. So as much as our high school, you know, has the officers and 4 or 5 secure, which is, you know, fantastic, we need somebody in all the schools. And I know it costs money, but there's no cost for a life. Let's not wait for something to happen. If you think it can happen, that's just, you know, your head's in the sand. So I'm pleading to everybody that's watching this, contact your Board of Ed members, contact the superintendent, push. We need more security in our schools. Let's do some preventative stuff, God forbid, before something happens. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Just to say one thing, and this just came in today. I would not expect you, you know, you're not going to magically know about it, but what will be coming before this this council for the next meeting is the request to spend that $2 million, not on school security. However, Superintendent Gasper has detailed in a memo to me that I'm going to share with you that his intention is to utilize some of the grant money that they have received that should be utilized on one-time expenses to do a full and thorough school security audit. And in addition to that, also do a thorough 10-year capital improvement planning process for the District 2, which is two separate issues. But it literally came in at let me see, it was like 3:30 this afternoon. So I just want, it'll be getting forwarded to you shortly. Thank you. Alderman Ayalon.
I may add that my students last semester went to one of the elementary schools, and they were surprised how easy it was to get in. And you know, they not necessarily knew my students, but they came in and just kind of allowed them free entry. Didn't check much who they were, and so some of them wrote in their journal concern about that school that that the security was lax. So I can tell you a little more.
Any other points of personal privilege? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Made by Alderman Malinowski, seconded by Alderman Barkowski. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. The time is 7:47 p.m. Thank you and have a great night.